Hello and welcome back to another video on the Wrestling Debate and to another edition of Smackdown Out of 10. And yeah, big show today. We're getting close to WrestleMania. Lots of interesting stuff coming up on the card. And yeah, just building towards the likes of Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte. So yeah, lots of stuff happening as I say. So let's get straight into it. And Brock Lesnar kicked off SmackDown after a recap of a segment between the Beast Incarnate and Roman Reigns at MSG. Lesnar said that things had gotten serious and Reigns had drawn first blood and the Universal Champion stage was now numbered. Brock Lesnar was now looking for blood. Paul Heyman came out alone and said that Roman Reigns was not there for the show and it was for Lesnar's safety. The latter wondered if Reigns wasn't there when he was chased backstage. Yeah, this was a random segment, and then he ran into the parking lot and escaped his car before we saw Sheamus and Ridge Holland show up with Sledgehammer, and they had a new friend, Pete Dunne, or as the duo called him, Butch. Yeah, as I was saying, this was a random segment, and it got more random as it went on. Pete Dunne's now called Butch. Paul Heyman was being chased by Brock Lesnar backstage. I mean, like, this was just mental stuff. Next up was the New Day versus Sheamus and Ridge Holland. Kofi and Sheamus started brawling off the bat, and the match started with Kingston and Holland in the ring. The New Day had the early advantage. So Sheamus then took a belly-to-belly suplex before he headed for a break. Back on SmackDown, Kofi got an SOS before Holland took out Big E with a massive suplex outside while Kofi tried climbing the ropes. Sheamus took out Kingston with a brogue kick to pick up the win. After the match, Butch hit Kofi Kingston with some big kicks before following Sheamus backstage. But yeah, obviously this was overshadowed when we found out that Big E suffered a broken neck from that suplex, and yeah, that's just terrible news. Such a shame that's happened, and I think all we can do is really wish Big E the best. But yeah, just moving on with the show, and we saw Stone Cold accepting Kevin Owens' challenge in a short video, and the show rode on. Johnny Knoxville had leaked Sami Zayn's phone number, and it led to Zayn getting over 10,000 messages. Before Drew McIntyre and the Viking Raiders were backstage and headed for a match with Jinder Mahal and the Happy Folks, but Mahal, Shanky, Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss attacked the trio before the match could start. McIntyre then forced his way out of the ring, where he took down Mahal and Moss before hitting Shanky with Michinoku driver as Corbin fled the ring. Yeah, kind of a pointless segment, but you know, it's just another week's build. Before Ronda Rousey was out next and said that she had a few surprises up her sleeve, learning from Kurt Angle. Charlotte Flair walked out and said she only tapped last week because of her heels and expensive outfit, but she won't tap at WrestleMania. Rousey said she'll take her heels off, and this time it looked like they were going to fight before Flair walked out of the ring. Rousey taunted after her, saying that the Queen won't be able to run away at WrestleMania and she will still have to tap out. I'll recap the whole stuff for when we get a further development later. Before we got Sasha and Naomi versus Shayna and Natalya. Shayna and Natty isolated Naomi as the match began before Baszler got a knee bar locked in. Naomi made a tag and Banks came in with Meteora. In the ring, Banks hit a backstabber on Natalya after distraction from Selena Vega, allowed her to pick up the win. Yeah, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Kind of just a general TV match. Not much really to say here. It was fine, but I couldn't really care less about it. Usos were out next, followed by Nakamura and Boogs, and the last one was the title shot. The Usos decided that Boogs got the win over Jey so they could have the match, and Boogs got an early bear hug and transitioned it into a vertical suplex before Jey went out injured as Jimmy Uso ran the distraction. Rick Boogs then got a modified power slam to Boogs crew before picking up the win. After the match, Jimmy came in with a guitar where Boogs' head and had him at ringside, and it broke on Boogs' head, allowing Boogs to pick up the victory via disqualification. And yeah, it looks like we're getting out of WrestleMania. I mean, like, I'll give it 6 out of 10. It's interesting, but yeah, I'm not too sure about it. Austin Theory was then out at ringside at SmackDown and continued and taunted Pat McAfee. The latter ran out of his seat and wiped out Theory, sending him into the apron and over the announce desk. A group of officials then tried to break it up before he got Ricochet versus Sami Zayn for the IC title. The match kicked off and Sami Zayn was trying to play it safe, keeping his distance while trying to keep Ricochet on the match. Zayn got a big powerbomb before Ricochet went up top and taking down Zayn, but the latter got up and dropped him from the top before we headed for a break. Back on SmackDown, Ricochet got a near fall off a counter, and then Zayn got a blue thunderball. He got Fisherman's suplex from the top rope before Ricochet hit the recoil, and the champion followed out with 630 to pick up the win. I mean, like, yeah, I thought we were done with rematches, but you know, I'm not complaining. This is a decent match. Looking inspired for a WrestleMania build, so you know, it's okay, but yeah, a bit weird. 6 out of 10. Flair and Rousey were then brawling in the parking lot and had to be stopped by a large group of officials. The Queen dropped Ronda Rousey on the hood of the car and locked in a hold on the top of the car before slamming her head on the hood as she went off the air. Yeah, I mean, like, it was okay, but I'm just not really feeling this build for Ronda versus Charlotte. I mean, like, it doesn't really do anything for me. Hopefully that changes, but yeah, that's just my personal thoughts at the moment. Overall this week, SmackDown gets a 5 out of 10 from me. Yeah, obviously this week's show was massively overshadowed by everything that happened at the beginning. We hope he gets well soon. But yeah, even aside from this, I just don't think it was just not the best show, to be honest. I mean, like, it was inconsistent, it all felt a bit insignificant, and yeah, some of the builds I just didn't really like. But anyway, guys, that's it for the video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, rate yourselves, comment down below, follow us, link description for daily wrestling news, and subscribe to the channel on the screen right now, it'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching, peace.